Hello and welcome to Parents Guide to Games. Before we get started, if you could please subscribe. There are no new releases today, so we are going to take a look at Cyberpunk 2077 and the issues with the game and some they may pop up in the future. Cyberpunk 2077 launched on December 10th, 2020. It came out on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Google Stadia, and PC. The hype for the game was unbelievable. The closest thing I could compare it to was the Avengers Endgame movie. The Stadia and PC versions run well, but the games also have bugs. PlayStation 4 and Xbox One both have terrible bugs and really can't be played. Textures don't load, and flying vehicles are just some of the issues that have come up. The issues have been so bad that refunds are being given to the Xbox versions, and CD Projekt Red, the makers of Cyberpunk, will give refunds if retailers and Xbox or PlayStation do not give refunds. PlayStation has removed Cyberpunk from the online shop, and as of right now, and will not be letting people to buy it online until after CD Projekt Red fixes the issues. Xbox has a warning when you try to buy it on their online store, but they are still letting people purchase it. And this is a very interesting problem. The bugs are really bad. Characters glitching in and out. Like I said, flying cars, that's crazy. You're going in a car and you hit a little speed bump and you're flying in the air and you're falling off the map. Also, like textures aren't loading, blurry textures, so just things that ruin the game make it really hard. A few more bugs that I'll talk about at the bottom. Another one that's come up recently, and it's not able to play missions, dialogue being cut from not loading the game. So like missions can't progress because it needs that dialogue and the character to do certain things, but the characters don't do any of it. I guess there's one where a character, you have to get in the car and the character's the player character you're with opens the door, but I guess the issues are the character's not opening the door, so then the go in the car option doesn't show up. So this is very interesting that all these issues are happening, and so the hype for this game was unreal. Even the Marvel, the Avengers Endgame movie, I don't think CD Projekt Red had hype for this for 8 years. They talked about it for 8 years. Of Cyberpunk 2077 is gonna be so awesome. Even the console generation that we're leaving currently, they announced Cyberpunk before that console generation launched. We only did 7 years of the generation we're leaving, so Xbox One and PlayStation 4. And so what's interesting is how terrible it is on those versions when the game should have been built for those versions to start out with, because that's what they were working on totally. From what we can guess and what CD Projekt Red has said is that they really focused on the PC version to make it ultra cool, ultra settings, this really great game, but it wasn't comparable. They weren't paying attention to the PlayStation and the Xbox version, so that's what didn't work. Like I said, they're giving refunds. Xbox has been giving refunds on their thing, but I guess now they're kind of having a hard time. PlayStation just has refused to do it. Like I said, they've delisted the game off the store, which is a very interesting move. Because it doesn't work, and they don't want to keep issuing refunds, they just took it off. Like I said, this game is huge. There's just nobody. I couldn't. Like I said, the closest thing I could think of was the Endgame movie. And CD Projekt Red has said, if bring the game back to retailers. If they don't do it, you can contact CD Projekt Red directly. I'll try to put that in the bottom if you have that issue. CD Projekt Red contact directly, and they can see what they can do, refund you the game. And it's just crazy that this mangled mess of a game runs perfect on a PC and runs so awful on current hardware, like last gen, but the new generation just came out 2 months ago, a month ago. So that's just a very interesting topic and a very interesting thing to see from here. Another issue with the Cyberpunk game is causing some epileptic issues when played. As per Leela report of Game Informer, she had suffered one major seizure and felt several moments where she was close to another one. This can be very scary. Videos are meant for enjoyment. She has updated the article to say that CD Projekt Red has put out a patch to help and just make sure that everyone is playing safe. Epileptic issues are unfortunately common in the video game media. They try not to be, but it does pop up because people try to go blue flashing lights like real life, but that can cause epileptic issues. A couple of games that came up in her article, in my mind, BioShock was always a problem. I have actually got headaches from BioShock. I had to stop playing it. I haven't played it in years. Mass Effect, I know, caused problems. A series called Mass Effect. She has stated a few in her article. The Cyberpunk has a few things like flashing lights, neon lights, and there's certain, and she got a major seizure, which is really bad. That's not great. And started feeling other ones until she stopped playing. Like I said, they have patched, but it still doesn't solve all the issues. It's still flashing lights. It's still like you can slow down, but people still might have issues. So just please monitor that best of your ability. Turn on the brightness of the screen, blue light filter glasses. I actually use them myself. They seem to do well. Hurt my eyes less. I seem to get less headaches when I'm playing video games. Things like that. So it's just things we have to prepare here for the game that unfortunately were unseen or untested, and now they are trying to solve them. But it still is an issue that come up in video games. Is something we don't talk about is people with seizures and all that having problems with video games. So just everyone, please be safe. Please monitor the ones that you're watching. Please also check on them. I know it's going to sound weird, but just check on them to make sure they're okay, because it's their seizures. That's a very scary thing, and very scary for the people around it. And just the things we need to do to take care of ourselves and take care of others. Stopping the game after a while, hour, stop, go do something for half hour, then come back. Don't play so much that that's all you're doing. Take breaks. Get plenty of water, get hydrated, eat food. It's sad to say that, but that still happens in the world. Take breaks regularly. Maybe set a schedule. Maybe set an alarm. Check on those people. Make sure they're not doing long gaming sessions at one time, just sitting. The next issue I want to talk about is that a new thing that's come up in the game, and that is save files in the game being over 8 megabytes are being corrupted in the game. CD Projekt Red is aware of the bug and has advised players to keep their inventory crafting and in the game down to a minimum, and this bug is pretty bad as CD Projekt Cyberpunk takes about 50 plus hours to finish. Losing the save data is never good. This is actually a new thing that came up over the weekend because people are now playing the game. It's been a couple weeks of playing the game, and that to lose all your hard work, like I said, it's a 50 plus hour game that you're playing, and you save progress, you make it. It's a huge game. There's plenty to do. But to lose your whole save file over because it just has a bug is crazy. Like I said, CD Projekt Red is aware of it. They're trying to fix it. They're getting out, and this is all, from what I can guess, it's all platforms, except for maybe Google. But don't quote me on that. From what I can guess, is all the platforms are having this problem with the save file, and that it's something that just needs to be addressed. It's an immediate address. That save files are corrupting. That's never a good thing in a game. Just like you're making a Word document, you're working really hard on a paper or something, and just because it's too long, it's gone. You can't use it. That's a crazy thing to think about. These are obviously things that they can't test for very well in a testing setting, because you can test 40 people and okay, they all do good. Maybe not everyone's going to run into the issue. But then you get it out to millions of people, and all of a sudden, every kind of system you can think of and any kind of setup is going to have a problem, and so that's not good. And then, like I said, they're going to get fixed out as soon as possible to fix this issue. This is something that should be taken care of pretty quickly, unlike the other issues like the graphic bugs and all that earlier in the video. But that should be taken care of. You shouldn't see a problem, hopefully soon. But just letting you know that they want to keep everything to the minimum. Crafting, all that, getting rid of things, not keeping them in your storage containers and all that, because that will cause the game to get bigger. And once it's about that 8 megabyte threshold, boom, the game corrupts the save file and you're starting over from scratch again. The last topic I want to touch on is one that's not really big now, but I believe it'll be a bigger issue in the future, and that is the sex and the sex scenes in the game. From what I have gathered, they are very graphic and in first person view. And I remember when GTA 3 came out, the big issue was picking up a lady at the night in the car, rocking back and forth after you pick her up. Another is the hot coffee mod for GTA San Andreas. And there was a mini game that the creators had put in the game, but later disabled during development, and people who mod games or look at the code found this game and enabled it to work. GTA San Andreas ended up being removed from store shelves, even in the mod was only available to play on the PC version. Cyberpunk, you can choose your gender, no gender, or multiple genders. This can lead to having sex with any of the companions in the game. So what's interesting is going back in history of games, like I said, the 2 GTA games here that I listed earlier, and also like Mass Effect, like I talked about earlier, also had an issue that made national media about you can have sex with anybody. You can have, make your character however you want. CD Projekt Red is now taking that to a next level. I believe this gender thing is it's one of the first things. There are games you can swap out genders before you can be man or woman, but this one you can be man, woman, other, no gender, nothing. You could be both genders. You can be creative. You can be customized. You can customize the genitalia as big as you want, as little as you want. There's actually a glitch right now where genitalia is popping out of clothing and you can see it everywhere, both male and female. So that is very, like I said, these are just bugs leading up to the game. The sex scenes, they are very graphic. It's a first-person game, so it's looking like in real life you're playing the game. So anything you see, full-on stuff. It's gotten actually, the sex scenes are so intimate. It's actually they've actually shown up on porn sites, which is very interesting. That scenes in a game are showing up there, and that just tells you how much people want to see the content of the game, plus also how graphic it is in the game, that these are showing up on there. I don't have any clips, obviously, for reasons, because YouTube and Facebook will block me, and I don't want that to happen, and so I won't be showing them. You can look them up, but just be safe when you're doing that, if you do choose to look that up. And just, I know that's a big issue with people, and like I said, it's an issue that hasn't really come up now, but I believe once national media gets over the issues, the bugs, all the other things, I think they'll start coming up, because that's usually what happens in video games is GTA is violent. This is what happened in GTA 3. I remember specifically GTA 3 because I had it quite a while once the issue about the prostitutes came up. And it went, GTA 3 is very violent. Okay. Everyone's like, okay, cool, then it's got a mature rating, there's not much else you can do. Then the next thing is, well, it's got sex in the game, you can pick up hookers. And a personal story of mine, is I've had the game, I'm probably 14 at the time, 15, I'm playing the game, having fun, doing missions. My mom comes in the room and says, hey, I need you to do one thing for me. I'm like, okay, cool. You want to see me play GTA? She's like, yeah, I need you to do this thing. She's like, I need you to pick up the Lady of the Night. I'm like, really? Okay, like it's not really much, but sure. She's no, I need to see it, otherwise I'll take the game away from you. I'm like, okay, cool. I go, I take care of it. I do the thing. The car rocks, boo, boo, boo. And she goes, that's what that was. I'm like, yes, that's awesome. She's like, how many times do you do this? I'm like, I did it twice because I could hear about it. You hear about it in the articles, you could do it. So I did it. Did it again because like it does give you health. But after that, I don't need to do it anymore because I'm a player character. I have other forms to get health. I don't need this. And she goes, okay, cool, that's it. Like, and that's, I think, what's going to happen is the national media is going to get a hold of this, both the gender thing and probably this, because that people in the world still have a problem with that. And I don't see people, when I see people, but everyone has issues with things. Some people have issues with sex and genders, and that is one that will need to be discussed, and we will probably be talking more. Like I said, once the bugs, the issues, those get over, the refunds, I can see in 6 months as being the big deal. And that's what I'm just bringing it out there to people like here to let you know that I've informed you because I believe this will be an issue. I love video games. Video games are media. Media is an expression of people, and it is something that people put their hard work into, and I think should be celebrated. But people can have issues with things, and then I'm just bringing that up to you before you 6 months later, well, I don't like the game and nothing I can do. I'm just letting you know about the issues and all that, so you can learn, research, and make your own opinion. And that's what I try to do here. Thank you for taking the time to learn about the issues of Cyberpunk 2077. And if you want to learn more, I have links in the description to the articles about the topics I have discussed today. Thank you to bensound.com for the music track. Please follow Parents Guide to Games on YouTube at Parents Guide to Games, on Facebook at Parents Guide to Games, on Twitter at ParentsG2G, and email any questions or concerns at parentsg2g@gmail.com. And always, please subscribe, and thanks for watching.